Check, check.
This works?
Is this turned on? Yes. Okay. As you are, you're welcome here. Unitarians have been part of the Helena community since the 19th century. We welcome you to share in this inclusive fellowship. We aspire to spiritual freedom, religious tolerance, and a true celebration of diversity. We're a lay-led fellowship where all may contribute to the life of our community and to the weekly services. We dedicate this service today to all who seek hope and peace in their lives, especially to the people of Ukraine, Gaza, and Israel. To all indigenous peoples, and to all women and children of the world. We acknowledge the interconnected web of all existence and the ongoing sacrifices made that we may live in peace and without hunger. We're thankful that we are able to meet together today in this place of sanctuary. As you are, you're welcome here. Visitor, friend, or longtime member, you're welcome here. With little children, or your partner, or alone, we joyfully welcome you here. You're welcome here as believer or doubter, as joiner or loner, you're welcome here. Feeling a part of us or not, full of energy or not, seeking a vision or a rest, you're welcome to join us just as you are.
We acknowledge that we are in the Aboriginal territories of the Salish, Nez Perce, Blackfeet, and Anishinaabe people who share the Helena Valley as hunting grounds. The indigenous story of the Helena Valley began long before the arrival of Europeans. We honor those who walked here before us. We honor the path they have shown us in caring for this place for generations to come. We strive for justice and fair relations with their descendants.
Hello, my name is Mackenzie Jones, pronouns she, her. And speaking of pronouns, I am here to introduce the idea of pronoun stickers. I think over the last year and a half, you've heard some of us say our pronouns after we introduce ourselves. Many of us appear to match the pronouns that we say we identify with. And so when that happens, we are just acknowledging that we are open to hearing what your pronouns are in case they don't match the way you express yourself. So if you are wearing a dress, it doesn't always mean that you are using she, her pronouns. You might use they, them, he, him. Some alternate pronouns might be z, zim, z, zer. It's up to the person. If you are unfamiliar with this concept, I'm happy to talk more about it after the service. I don't know everything, but can also provide you with some resources if it's still very confusing. It's really a way to acknowledge that everyone has their own identity and we are respecting that identity. So in order to help us support people of various pronouns throughout our congregation, the board did purchase some pronoun stickers that you could put on your name tag. So we'll have, it's a whole envelope of sheets of paper with pronoun stickers. There's they, them, lots of she, her, he, him. And then if you identify with something completely different than what is on the sticker sheet, there are empty ones and you could put your own. So I wanted to introduce these today as an opportunity for our entire congregation to make an inclusive step forward. They will be out by the name tags after the service and then on the name tag table for services to come. Thank you.
can all stand as we are able and join in singing number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Commit. Welcome. My name is Becky, pronouns she and her. And this is written by the Reverend Sarah Lawal. And I don't know, did you get someone to light the chalice? I can do it. And I'll read this while Judy lights the chalice. Spirit of life and love, holy mystery. May we hear the voice within calling us to ask what's possible, to walk to the edge, to shed the fear and the need for control and dance with the infinite for a while. May we set down the list of wrongs and hurts and see obstacles as invitations for innovation, beckoning our creativity. May we hear each other's voices of love and encouragement. May we hear the cries of the world, asking us, who do we choose to be? May we be vessels of love and compassion. May we be vessels of hope and healing. May we be vessels of peace and justice. May love prevail. In the name of all that is holy, we pray. Amen.
Today I'd like to introduce our special musical guests who've come over from Missoula. We've got Beth Youngblood on violin and Katie Dickinson on guitar, and we'll be helping throughout the service. So on Welcome to the Circle today, when you get done singing verse 2, we'll leave a little space for Beth to play a little violin solo. Page 2 in the Open Your Heart songbook. Thank you, Katie. Rise as you're willing and able. Welcome to the circle. How far have you come? Do you need some company? A candle and a song? Are you feeling weary? Tired of being strong? Welcome to this circle. It's a place where you belong. Do you have a burden? Do you have a burden that feels too much to bear? Do you have a bitterness you don't know how to share? Do you feel too angry to breathe or laugh or pray? Well, there's no one in this circle who has never felt this way. No one in this circle who has never felt this way. So welcome to this circle, whatever brought you here. The valleys and the mountain tops, the muddy and the clear. And know your work is worthy, and know your heart is true, and know that all you give away will come circling back to you. You got to know that all you give away will come circling back to you. Thank you, Beth. One of the joys for me of being in this UU is being able to work with my friend Mackenzie Jones. And we are going to deliver today what is one of my all-time favorite poems by Diane DePrima, who is no longer on the planet, but she was one of the most famous beat poets and lived in San Francisco, and I was lucky enough to listen to her read her poems one time, and I felt very much like in that third floor room of a San Francisco big building, old wooden building, probably built by the Finns, that I was in the presence of the Godfather, because she sat and delivered those poems with the authority that I had never heard quite like that. So here's Diane de Prima's poem called Rant. You cannot write a single line without a cosmology, a cosmogony laid out before all eyes.
There is no part of yourself you can separate out, saying, this is memory, this is sensation, this is the work I care about, this is how I make a living.
It is whole.
It is a whole.
It always was whole.
You do not make it so.
There is nothing to integrate. You are a presence. You are an appendage of the work. The work hangs from the heaven you create.
Every man, every woman carries a firmament inside, and the stars in it are not the stars in the sky.
Without imagination, there is no memory.
Without imagination, there is no sensation.
Without imagination, there is no will, desire. History is a living weapon in your hand, and you have imagined it. It is thus that you find out for yourself. History is the dream of what can be. It is the relation between things in a continuum of imagination.
What you find out for yourself is what you select out of an infinite sea of possibility. No one can inhabit your world.
Yet it is not lonely.
The ground of imagination is fearlessness.
The discourse is videotape
Of a movie.
of a shadow play, but the puppets are in your hand. Your counters in a multi-dimensional chess, which is divination
and strategy.
The war that matters is the war against the imagination. All other wars are subsumed in it. The ultimate famine is the starvation of the imagination. It is death, to be sure, but the undead seek to inhabit someone else's world. The ultimate claustrophobia is the syllogism.
The ultimate claustrophobia is it all adds up.
Nothing adds up, and nothing stands in for anything else. The only war that matters is the war against the imagination. The only war that matters is the war against the imagination.
The only war that matters is the war against the imagination.
All other wars are subsumed in it.
There is no way out of the spiritual battle. There is no way you can avoid taking sides. There is no way you cannot have a poetics. No matter what you do, plumber, baker, teacher, you do it in the consciousness of making or not making your world. You have a poetics. You step into the world like a suit of ready-made clothes.
Or you etch in light. Your firmament spills into the shape of your room, the shape of the poem, of your body, of your loves. A woman's life,
A man's life
is an allegory. Dig it. The war of the worlds hangs here right now in the balance.
It is a war for this world, to keep it a veil of soul-making. The taste in all our mouths is the taste of our power.
And it is bitter as death. Bring yourself home to yourself.
Enter the garden.
The guy at the gate with the flaming sword is yourself. The war is the war for the human imagination, and no one can fight it but you.
And no one can fight it for you.
The imagination is not only holy,
It is precise.
it is not only fierce.
It is practical.
Men die every day for the lack of it.
It is vast and elegant.
Intellectus means light of the mind. It is not discourse. It is not even language, the inner sun. The polis is constellated around the sun. The fire is central.
Now we will take a moment to hear joys and concerns, and we do want to remind, if this joy or concern is of a private nature, we do have an opportunity at the end of the service for you to share those while the recording is off. So who would like to start us off with a joy and concern?
It's kind of a joyful announcement. 2 o'clock today, we have Dances of Peace at Bruce DeSonia's house at 706 Harrison.
My name's Greg Worcester, pronouns he, him. If you get a chance to get tickets to see the Premier Dance Company's Nutcracker next weekend, you'll see Liam and Vivian in that production. And they're really looking forward to it and been practicing hard, so get your tickets now.
My joy is that I can be here today with all of you. I have a joy that all of us are here today.
I have a joy that we have a president that is so experienced, knowledgeable, and has the sense to have good people around him and to listen to them. We've gone through COVID and now we're going through holy wars, and I just hope we all continue to say thanks for having the person we have there now.
My name is Cass, she, her, and I have a joy today that my beloved old pals from Missoula, Katie and Beth, are here. Yo, yo. And the gift of music, and that Judy has put together a service that, it's complicated, huh? That poem Rant is really something. So, and that we also have this lovely music. What a gift, hallelujah.
And for all the joys and concerns that we hold in our hearts.
I'd like to invite all children or people who are feeling a little young to come up here, and we'll talk about something that is a word that is confusing, I think, to people of all ages. And also illuminating, possibly, I don't know. Okay, I just want to ask briefly if any of you kids know what a myth is. Oh boy, what's a myth, Viv?
It's something that's not true.
Okay, and what do you just one at a time.
It might be kind of like a creature that might be kind of magic, but not real. A myth is a story made up to make you believe something, but it's not actually true. It's usually a trick to make you do something.
Go ahead, you tell what you think.
So a myth is a story that it can be made up, but it usually teaches you a lesson that is true, even though the story is not.
Any other thoughts up here? Okay, so I went to Wikipedia, which is what I usually do when I'm looking up things like that. And what myth, I asked what makes an effective myth? elicit from them that myths, like other stories, contain the following elements: characters, setting, conflict, plot, and resolution. In addition, myths usually explain some aspect of nature or account for some human action. Frequently, myths include a metamorphosis, a change in shape or form. So if I were going to ask myself after that, what is a myth? I would say, a myth is a story which explains some aspect of nature or some aspect of the way humans act the way they do, and they often tell how something was changed, usually for the better. So I want to have this half of the group go over here, and this half of the group go over here. You can be either side, Mara. Because this half over here follows one queen, and this half over here follows another queen. And they don't usually get along. So what they've done is that they've gotten on top of a big hill, or they've gotten on top of a little hill, and there's a big expanse in between. And every once in a while, they meet on the expanse. What do you think they do when they meet?
Fight.
Pound each other into the ground.
I think they've got the idea. So this is what happened in Ireland, ancient Ireland, on the hills of Shebeg and Shemur. And before the Celts inhabited what was previously called Hibernia, there was a mystical fairy-like people called the Sidhe. One group of them lived on a small fairy mound called Shebeg. The other lived on a large fairy mound called Shemur. In between was a flat area, a plain on which the queens of the rival clans would do battle. One of the battles was particularly bloody and seemed like it would never end. But to the surprise of all, a fairy host appeared from two neighboring hills, causing the two clans to call a truce. The battles continued to be carried out, but only by the immortal beings which inhabit the Shebeg and Shemur, the two fairy mounds. So their fighting continued, but not in their bodies. It continued how? In their spirits. So this battle was going on, and you can go back to your seats now because something really surprising happened to stop this battle. And Beth and KD, if you would come up and help with this, there is a famous Irish songwriter who was blind and traveled around, and he went from village to village and place to place, collecting stories and listening to people and writing songs. When he came to Shebeg and Shemur, and he heard about the fighting that was always going on, he started to write a song that he thought might calm things down. And according to some people, when you hear the song Shebeg and Shemur, you cease all the fighting in your heart and calm with Turla O'Carlin.
That sounds better. Okay. I'm Agnes. I use she, her pronouns, and I am just here to talk about why I pledge for to this congregation. I'll try to read my own handwriting. No promises. So during this time in my life, I've been really seeking community, and I have found a community that I've really loved and felt supported by and is caring here at Big Sky. So I'm a social worker. That's what I do during the week. And this week, my colleagues and I were talking about just the state of the world and how our clients are doing, and just kind of the existential dread that is permeating kind of everyone right now. It's rough out there. So one of the things we were talking about is just, healing the healers, right? But also just how there's a lack of space to just come together, grieve, connect, and meditate on all the things that are happening in the world right now. And that's something I've found here. I've had many moments, just these micro moments of healing, just a word or someone says something that hits. Just even in some of the songs today, that hits so right that I tear up. So, because it feels so healing. And that's something that I'm just needing so much right now. So I can, during the week, hold space for others to be able to grieve what's happened to them and what's happening in the world and all the images they're taking in, and just there's just a lot. So I also I pulled a small excerpt from a woman named Fjell, a book I have of something she wrote, because I thought it was relevant to this as well. So, and she said, on a trip to the coast of California and Oregon, I learned a valuable lesson about mutual support from the majestic redwood trees thriving there. Redwoods are inclusive beings. As they grow, they incorporate into their basic structure objects around them, including rocks and other trees. Although redwoods have shallow roots, they are noted for their strength and longevity because they share their roots with others. Each individual tree is invited into the whole, and in turn help support the entire group. Redwoods have adapted to be among the oldest living things on Earth. We too need to learn to ask and give support in order to thrive in the world that we're living in. If you feel safe and understood, you have probably found a grove of like-minded redwoods.
It is now time for our offering. Thank you for your gifts this day and for all the gifts of action that make this community possible. If you are visiting, please remain our guest. Your presence is your gift to us. I'd like to invite Liam and Vivian. Will you come up and help me with the offering?
So Judy invited me to tell a story about hope today, and I am a fan of the New York Mets baseball team. And you know, to be a Mets fan, boy, you gotta have a lot of hope. So it all started when I broke my collarbone in the summer of 1969. The summer before my senior year in high school. I had a dream job, my dream job, exercising horses at a local stable. And I was set for a blissful summer. But in July, I crashed on the horse and I shattered my collarbone. And the doctor said, no riding for 6 months. And I was devastated. So I was in bed, in pain, and I desperately needed something to focus on. Because otherwise, the summer was going to be a total bust. And then, along came the New York Mets baseball team. They're the crosstown rivals of the New York Yankees. I live just north of New York City, which is the hometown of those damn Yankees. And that baseball team seemed to win everything, everywhere, all the time. And it was easy to be a Yankee fan. But no, not me. I was a Mets fan. And even if you're not a baseball fan, you might remember Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris. They were Yankees, right? And when the Mets first joined the major leagues in 1962, they lost 120 games. No team in the history of baseball has ever lost 120 games. But they were lovable, and they actually earned the nickname the Lovable Losers. So that same year, the Yankees won the World Series again, and Roger Maris broke Babe Ruth's record for hitting the most home runs in a season. So the Mets were over here losing 120 games, and the Yankees were the toast of the town. And the town was crazy for the Yankees. But of course, I was a Mets fan. I cheered for every run they scored, every game they played. And still, for 7 years, the Mets had barely scraped out of last place for 7 years. So that summer of 1969 had been a normal year for the Mets. They were 10 games out of first place in August, which is like, it's hopeless. It's not happening. But I was still with them. And then they started to win. They won a few games, and then they won a few more games, and I was glued to the TV every single night. And I, with this hand, this arm in a sling, I was keeping score with my left hand. And and they were winning, and they kept on winning, and they kept on winning. And lo and behold, they won the World Series in 1969. And the cool other thing was, I was riding horses 6 weeks after I broke my collarbone. So you gotta have hope.
And now I've invited the Worcester family to present the song from Damn Yankees. This is where I got the title for this service today. I started with You Gotta Have Hope, but the song really is You Gotta Have Heart. So here are the Worcesters to sing and present a little drama from Damn Yankees. Come up a little closer.
Is this thing on?
Yes, it is.
Testing. Okay. Hi.
Now listen to me. This game of baseball is only one half skill. The other half is something else, something bigger. You gotta have heart. All you really need is heart. When the odds are saying you'll never win, that's when the grin should start. You've gotta have hope. You mustn't sit around and mope. Nothing's half as bad as it may appear. Wait till next year and hope. When your luck is batting zero, get your chin up off the floor. Mister, you can be a hero. You can open any door, there's nothing to it but to do it. You gotta have heart. Miles and miles and miles of heart. Oh, it's fine to be a genius, of course, but keep that old horse before the cart. First you gotta have heart.
A great slugger we haven't got.
A great pitcher we haven't got. A great ball club we haven't got.
What do we got? We've got heart. All you really need is heart. When the odds are saying you'll never win, that's when the grin should start. We've got hope. We don't sit around and mope. solitary sob do we heave, mister, 'cause we've got hope.
We're so happy that we're humming.
That's the hardy thing to do, 'cause we know our ship will come in, so it's 10 years overdue. We've got heart, miles and miles and miles of heart. Sure, it's fine to be a genius, of course, but keep that old horse before the cart. So what's the heck's the use of crying? Why should we curse?
Why should we curse? We gotta get better, 'cause we can't get worse.
And we've got heart. All you really need is heart. When the odds are saying you'll never win, that's when the grin should start.
Some of you may be wondering what that picture is up on the wall. This is an example of hope. The squirrel is undaunted by the challenge in front of him. This is our squirrel, Eldridge, that lives at 580 Deal Drive. So Eldridge never gives up hope. A few years ago, I was fortunate enough to pair up in some ways with Christy Hager, who's a wonderful artist here in Montana. And she was living in Butte at the time. Right there. Okay, okay. She was living in Butte at the time, and she was there when the first snow geese landed on the pit and were poisoned. And I don't remember how many died the first time they landed on the pit, but then there were more. And she was outraged, and she wrote this poem. It's called Not Water. Can we stop calling it water? Water brews tea, cooks carrots, grows roses. We baptize babies with water. The liquid in question is a dead headwater. Could baptize us yet, could be our Lord's, bottled and sold at pit viewing stand in bitter brown vial. Childproof cap and warning label. If swallowed, induce vomiting, call a doctor. Call it what you will, what it is, not water. Water falls on mountaintop, wholly frozen, melts to feed fir and pine where birds hatch hungry, melts to feed swollen streams where lunkers hide, melts on windshields coming home with a load of standing dead cut before snow geese fly. They say the pit liquid is contained, monitored, measured forever. I say, don't be surprised when it rolls across the driveway in a red-brown wave. Flood irrigates the lawn to a sudden death. Curls linoleum, rots carpets, stains dust ruffles, curtains. Leaves a brown ring around the lampshade. Don't be surprised when the lemonade tastes funny. Call a doctor. When we call it what it is, we are called to name our poison and change it back into water. "156 people dancing hula to the song Cool Water on the rim of the Berkeley Pit in Butte, Montana, raised a lot of eyebrows. The pit is an abandoned copper mine, a mile wide, a mile and a half long, and a quarter of a mile deep, containing 35 billion gallons of water contaminated by acid mine drainage. It is the heart of the EPA's largest Superfund site. Doing a hula on the rim of the pit in response to such a monumental challenge was a preposterous idea, but a magnetic one. People from all walks of life who had never dreamed of doing a hula came from all over Montana to publicly express concern in a new way. Some were activists burned out on tedious letter writing, check writing, signature gathering, and contentious public meetings. Others were not activists of any kind, but felt isolated in their despair over the loss of nature. All jumped at a chance to lighten up. It was magnetic because it was primal. Human beings dancing and singing in unison, asking for what is needed on a location as old as the hills. This may be the first time it has been done at a Superfund site. We called it an art action. By embracing rather than condemning a massively damaged piece of earth, we were uplifted. The video makes a case for a kind of activism without which I become overwhelmed with despair. We communicated without implying blame or criticism. It was a non-violent, non-polarizing event that continues to live with people as a great day. As one dancer sums it up, a lot of science has to go into cleaning up our polluted waters. We need heart as well. Heart and music and poetry and song and dance. That's what this was all about. as usual, I always plan about 3 times as much as there's time for. So I think what we should do at this point is have the women's chorus come up and lead us in the song Breathing Peace. So come on up, women. There was more than enough to do this service today. In my mind, I tend to be like that story they tell about border collies that, Squirrel. I go down those rabbit holes all the time on the internet because there's so much to learn. And there is so much to comfort us. There's also so much to bring us into a state of fear like some of us have never known before. So I want to share this piece. It's in your bulletins because I wanted you to be able to take it home. Václav Havel was the man who ended up being the president of the Czech Republic. And I love so many of the things that he wrote. And this one, I think, really sums up what it is that I'm trying to say with this service today and have us share. You can read it with me if you'd like. Hope is not the same as joy that things are going well. but rather an ability to work for something because it is good, not because it stands a chance to succeed. Hope is definitely not the same thing as optimism. It is not the conviction that something will turn out well, but the certainty that something makes sense regardless of how it turns out. Would you come up and extinguish the chalice? So let's read together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And something that's not included in the program is a duet that Beth and I will do now, and after that we'll join in a closing circle. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and the courage, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and the courage, to change the things I can, the wisdom, the wisdom, the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you, and may we all join in whatever kind of circle we can form with the pews in the way. Sometimes it's an amoeba, sometimes it's just a cluster.